Picture this, it's 17th century England, and the whole nation is on a knife's edge. A huge crisis is brewing. And the most dangerous weapon in this fight? It wasn't a sword, it was a poem. We're going to break down how this one piece of literature was engineered to be pure ammunition, with a hidden and very dangerous purpose.
It's a wild question when you think about it, right? Can a bunch of rhyming lines really become a political tool? Something so powerful it can actually sway public opinion and maybe even change the fate of a kingdom?
Well, in a country that was just about ready to tear itself apart, the poet laureate, John Dryden, decided to find out. He didn't just write a pretty poem. No, he launched a full-on political attack, and we're about to see exactly how he pulled it off.
Okay, so first thing you have to get is that Absalom and Achitophel was built from the ground up to be a weapon. And Dryden, well, he chose his weapon very, very carefully.
He used something called verse satire. Now, the real magic here, and this was Dryden's genius, was his use of heroic couplets. These are just pairs of rhyming lines that sound super elegant and classy. But here's the trick. He weaponized that elegance to deliver these incredibly sharp, witty political jabs. It made his arguments unforgettable, easy to quote, and way more powerful than just some angry pamphlet.
But the real secret sauce, the thing that made this poem so devastatingly effective, was a code. He hid it in plain sight, right inside the story. And once you crack it, the entire political mess of 1681 just snaps into focus.
Dryden used what's called a political allegory. He took the crazy, high-stakes drama of his day, a massive fight over who would be the next king, and disguised it as a story that basically everyone in England already knew by heart, a famous, tragic story from the Bible.
And here it is. This is the decoder ring for the whole poem. The biblical King David? That's really King Charles II. The handsome, rebellious son, Absalom? Well, that's Charles's popular but illegitimate son, the Duke of Monmouth. And the sneaky, treacherous advisor, Achitophel? That's the Earl of Shaftesbury, the king's biggest political enemy. Dryden literally created a one-to-one map between the Bible and the streets of London.
So by draping this modern crisis in ancient robes, Dryden was doing something brilliant. He wasn't just criticizing his enemies, he was condemning them with the full weight of biblical authority. He was basically shouting, hey everyone, we've seen this story before. We know it ends in disaster. And you, Shaftesbury, you're playing the part of the villain.
So who were these real people behind the biblical masks? It's crucial to understand them, because these weren't just characters in a poem. They were the key players in a real-life power struggle for the throne of England.
Dryden paints Achitophel, who is again the Earl of Shaftesbury, as the ultimate puppet master. He's this brilliant but totally ruthless politician who knows he can't be king himself, so he decides he's going to rule through a pawn instead.
And that's the key right there, his motivation. Dryden argues that Shaftesbury isn't doing any of this for the good of England. No, he's just stirring up public fear and chaos to destabilize everything, also he can satisfy his own hunger for power.
And then you've got Absalom, the Duke of Monmouth. He's not shown as some evil monster, he's more of a tragic figure. He's handsome, he's charming, the public absolutely loves him. But his fatal flaw is his vanity. His pride makes him the perfect, easy-to-manipulate tool for Shaftesbury.
And to really get a sense of Absalom's character, check out this incredible detail from the original biblical story. When he would cut his hair, which he did only once a year, it weighed 4.4 pounds. That's insane. Dryden's audience knew this detail, and for them, it was the perfect symbol of the kind of excessive pride that would eventually be his downfall.
Okay, so we've got the players, but what was this big fight actually about? This wasn't just some personal squabble, it was a full-blown national crisis that had split the entire country right down the middle.
This whole thing didn't just pop up out of nowhere. First, you have this completely made-up conspiracy theory called the Popish Plot, which sparked this massive panic about Catholics. That fear then directly fueled something called the Exclusion Crisis, where politicians desperately tried to stop the king's Catholic brother, James, from ever inheriting the throne. And then, right at the peak of all this chaos, bam, Dryden drops his poem.
So you basically had two clear sides. On one side were the Whigs, led by Shaftesbury. They wanted to tear up the rulebook and put the Protestant Monmouth next in line. On the other side were the Tories, Dryden's team. They believed the line of succession was chosen by God, and Parliament had no business messing with it. That was the fire Dryden walked right into.
And this is where the story takes a seriously chilling turn. See, Dryden wrote his poem as a warning, a kind of political prophecy, and what happened next proved him tragically, horrifyingly right.
Let's just walk through this, because it's pretty mind-blowing. Dryden's poem warns that Monmouth's ambition, fanned into a flame by Shaftesbury, would only lead to ruin. Fast forward 4 years, Monmouth launches an actual rebellion. It fails, catastrophically, and he's executed. The biblical tragedy that Dryden used as a metaphor, it literally played out in real life, ending in real bloodshed.
And that, really, was Dryden's ultimate achievement. He did way more than just write propaganda. He took a complicated, ugly, messy political fight, and he elevated it. He turned it into this timeless morality play about ambition, loyalty, and divine right. He created a piece of art that not only served a political goal, but actually shaped how we remember these events to this day.
Which leaves us with a final question to chew on. In a battle for the soul of a nation, for the throne itself, what really holds more power in the end? The crown on a king's head, or the pen in a writer's hand?